Officer responsible for national reporting. So today I am joined by several of my colleagues. We have Mr. Aisaku Toda, Ana Garcia, Lindon, and Pablo Carmon. So they'll show you and they will reintroduce themselves once we have the program moving. So without much further ado, I'm like to pass on the mic to Aisaku to welcome us and formally start this event. Aisaku, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Richard. Good day, everyone. I am happy to provide opening remarks on behalf of the Minamata Convention Secretariat. My name is Eisaku Toda, responsible for the scientific and technical issues of the Minamata Convention. First of all, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation for your great efforts to implement the Minamata Convention, including national reporting. We can be proud of our record of outstanding reporting rate, 91% for 2019, 95% for 2021, and 82% for 2023. The Implementation and Compliance Committee, in its meeting last month, acknowledged the high rate of reporting and requested parties who had not yet submitted their second national report to do so by the 31st of May 2025, so that we can have even the reporting rate for the report to the COP6 later this year higher than the current 82%. National reporting is one of the key obligations of the convention. It is an official report from all parties to the Conference of Parties through the Secretariat. National reporting forms the basis of the review of the COP pursuant to Article 23, Paragraph 5b, and also the work of the Implementation and Compliance Committee and the effectiveness evaluation. You can look at how the national reports are used in the documents for the 7th meeting of the ICC and the synthesis of national reports submitted to the effectiveness evaluation group, which you can download from the website. The national reports are to be submitted as a COP1 decision in its as COP1 decided in its decision MC 1/8 using the format adopted in that decision. The same decision also requested the Secretariat to develop an electronic version of the reporting format and encouraged each party to use that version. Following this COP instruction, the Secretariat launched the online reporting tool, ORT, for the past reporting cycles and has been working to update and improve the tool to support the complete and consistent reporting. I am happy to present the ORT for this reporting cycle. Today's session is a kickoff of the second full reporting cycle to be submitted by the 31st of December this year. There will be a question and answer session towards the end of the session. The Secretariat would be happy to respond to questions today and also any follow-up questions by email. I hope this session is helpful, and we look forward to working with you in the task ahead of preparing the second full national report and in receiving the completed reports by the end of this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eisaku, for setting the stage for us and for giving a full context of what we'll be tackling today, as well as an overview of what the participants can expect with the second full national report. And I would like to call the attention of the participants to the slide in front of you. This provides you an overview of our information session. We have 7 key items, and I believe the most interest for most of you will be the Q&A. So we will try to go over slides as quickly as but as also efficiently as possible, so that we will have enough time for a Q&A session towards the end. Now, just to note before we move to the next slide, for the Q&A session, you can ask us through the chat, so please use the chat function for that purposes. So next slide, please. I'd like to go over quickly on the reporting obligations and guidance under the Minamata Convention and the timelines. If I can have the next slide, or am I? Okay, great. Thank you. Next slide. So First, as you may, for the national focal points, this is quite familiar to you. We have the reporting obligation under Article 21, Paragraph 1, wherein all parties are obligated to report to the Conference of the Parties through the Secretariat on three key important items: measures taken towards the implementation of the Convention, effectiveness of such measures, and possible challenges in meeting the objective of the Convention. As Isako mentioned in his opening remark, Decision MC1/8 established the timing and format of reporting by the parties. So we have there in the slide in front of you, MC1/8. Underneath it, you have the short reports that is done every 2 years, which covers 4 questions of the reporting format, and the full report, which is done every 4 years, over 4 years, which covers 43 questions of the full reporting format. So for the purposes of our discussion today and for the ORT, this covers the full report as per 1/8. The next item, as you can see from the timeline in front of you, is MC3/13, which mandated the Secretary to develop a draft guidance for national reporting. MC4/8, which amended, or rather clarified, questions 3.1, 3.3, and 11.2. And finally, we have MC5/13, where the COP adopted a decision to amend 19 reporting format questions, and it also adopted the guidance on national reporting. Equally, the COP has requested the Secretariat to reflect the amended reporting format questions to the guidance, so that we will tackle later as well. Next slide, please. Here in front of you, the squiggly image just shows you a little bit in terms of the cycles that we're following. So first reporting to the top left happened, was in 16 August 2017 to 31 December 2018. Submission was at 2019, but there was a delay, and that we were able to cover in 2021, and then etc. The key point here, at least for this reporting, for this slide, is the top middle. So we are covering the second full reporting the top middle established the short reports, at least for the recently finished short reports. And the key one for us is here at the bottom right, which is the second full report, which covers the period January 2021 to December 31, 2024. And this will be presented at COP7. So next slide, please. So where do you find this? You can find the relevant COP decisions on our website. So on the top, I call your attention to the top of the slide. That is the header, and then how you will find it is under Documents, and you see the image here of the web page. So Decision 5/13 on national reporting. That's it for my end. I'll pass the floor now to my colleague Anna. Anna, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Richard. I'm the Communication and Knowledge Management Officer at the Minamata Convention Secretariat. Thank you for your engagement with the Minamata Convention National Reporting. And to kick off the online reporting tool for this second full national report to be submitted by the end of this year, the Secretariat has prepared an illustrative video of the overall process. So just give me 1 second and I will share it with you. Okay, so now we have to start working, and here you have in this on this slide the main steps to take in preparing for the second full national report. Today, as mentioned, is the kickoff day with this Minamata Online event. And this week, national focal points must have received an email notification with the online reporting tool unique login credentials. For the step 2, you will log into the online reporting tool with the username and the password provided, and you can start your report. If you need any assistance, the Secretariat will be able to help you, whether it's a technical issue or a substantial aspect. After that, you can work on your report, and once you have started working on the report, you can fill in all the parts and the questions in any of the constituent languages. In a minute, I will show you the main functionalities live. You will complete and submit the report, but before submitting it, please review your responses. You can also review them at the preview screen stage before submitting the report, and click submit by 31st December 2025, and you will receive an acknowledgement email from the Secretariat. After that, the Secretariat will review the report to check for completeness, including any missing information or attachments, or if some responses need clarification. Once both sides consider the report final, it will be published on the website, and a confirmation email will be sent to the national focal point. Here on this slide, I will walk through quickly before moving live to the main sections of the online reporting tool. First, you will see an intro page with some instructions to access your current and previous report. After that, you will go through part A, which contains information on the party, which most of it is automatically pre-populated. Part B contains all the questions corpus organized into the convention article. And after that, you will find part C and part D for comments regarding possible challenges in meeting the objective of the convention. That's part C, and part D, which is supplemental comments regarding the reporting format and possible improvements. Part E is integrated at the end of each article when you go through the main questions. After that, you will be directed to the preview section with the option to print and finally submit the report. And here, when we share the presentation, you will find some useful resources that also my colleagues will go into much more detail, like the convention website, the online reporting tool user guide, reporting guidance, the convention text, the offline paper version, and the Minamata online sessions. Without now any other further review, I will move into my browser. So I will share my screen and hopefully guide you through the main features. So I hope that, if you can see my screen now, this is the first page you will see when you log into with your username and your password. This is a test case. So here you will find some instructions plus some reference to the reporting guidance, the online reporting tool, and the offline paper version that I mentioned. Also, you will find a main table that contains all the your current report and your previous reports if you have submitted them. After that, if now this is an example that I wanted to show you. This is about the second short national report. So you can also see this is an example of a previous report, so you can check to gather some information. Once that you go into the main now second full national report, you will go to part A, and most of this information, as I mentioned, will be pre-populated. In this case, I used the country Andorra, which is not a party yet to the convention. So this information is not pre-populated, but you will find that all your details that you have notified to the Secretariat will be already pre-populated. On the top right part, you will have a language switcher, so you can report in any of the official UN languages. Here I will show you some examples. In Arabic, we have all the reports in Arabic. We also have it in Chinese and in English and French and Russian. So on the right part of the report, even though you will start with part A, you can jump to any section and complete it at your own pace. So I can go and directly jump to Article 7, for example, or then go back to the others. You will see like a cross because these are the ones that I've already checked, but I have not completed. All the information that you input is automatically saved. Nevertheless, at the bottom of each screen, you will have a save button that we encourage you to click after completing each part. And you will receive some message alerts. For example, here on Article 3, that it mentions that the report was saved, but also, of course, because now we are running a test, that there are some mandatory questions that are not filled in. So that will give you some clarification where you still need to provide some input. The report follows, the online reporting tool follows some like logic pipelining in terms of replies. So for example, here we are with Mercury added product. So if I click yes, implementing paragraph 2, you will see that then the question 4.2 appears. Whether if I click no, then the pipelining is following the logic as agreed in the by the COP. Other important aspects for you to guide through the reporting process is that each question is linked to the convention, corresponding convention paragraph, and to the reporting guidance per article. I don't know, no, over here. So I clicked here to the reporting guidance, and then I can see the extra guidance per question to guide you through all the questions. By the end of the report, you will find, as I mentioned before, part C and part D. And when you have completed everything, you will go through the preview screen where you can check and review, and we encourage you to do so, all your responses. And while doing so, if you think that you need to edit a response, you don't need to go back. So for example, Article 4, I feel that, okay, I haven't completed everything as I wanted. By the end of the quest of the article, there's an edit button that will go back to the corresponding article question, so I can edit, complete, and then go back to the preview. Once that you have reviewed all data, you find that the report is completed and is ready to be submitted to the Secretariat. It's quite long. you have a tough task this year. So yes, when you reach the end, before submitting the report, you can print a copy and save it for you. And then if you click submit, we will receive the report, and you will also receive an automatic email acknowledging that we have, the Secretariat has received it. So with that, I will hand over to my colleague, Richard, and I hope that you find the reporting tool a user-friendly platform to complete this important obligation with the Minamata Convention. Thank you very much. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you very much, Anna. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So Yes, perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anna. And I hope that was very helpful and instrumental for the national focal points listening. As Anna mentioned, you should have received the credentials. This was prompted by the letter from our executive secretary last February 20th, launching the ORT. This can be found in the convention website when you click on to news, which is to the right. That is the header for our website, and then highlighted in gold in the middle with the pointed arrow is where you will find the letter from the executive secretary. The next slide that I will show you, again, just to walk you through. For those of you interested to see the past reports, you can access it in the reporting page. And another functionality that the Secretariat has been working on is the dashboard. So you can access the dashboard through right at the bottom of where you can click where the submitted reports are. And the dashboard provides you a visualization of the data submitted for all of the questions in the relevant report. Thank you very much. And then with that, I will pass on the mic to my colleague, Lynn, who will discuss the role of the national focal point. Lynn?
Thank you very much, Richard. Hello, everyone. My name is Ling. I'm Program Management Assistant at the Minamata Convention on Mercury Secretariat. And regarding the role of the national focal point under Article 21 national reporting, in the next slide, just to recall that paragraph 4 of Article 17 states, each party shall designate a national focal point for the exchange of information under this convention, including with regard to the consent of importing parties under Article 3. So as the custodian of information submitted under Article 21 national reporting, the national focal point plays an important role in the reporting process. Each party's report is to be submitted by or through the designated national focal point. And to assist with the compiling and completing the national report, you may also indicate an additional contact officer in the online reporting tool in Part A, as Anna already showed you in the previous section. Any follow-up requests for clarification will be referred to both national focal point and the additional contact officer. And for parties that nominated more than one national focal point, you were invited to confirm with the Secretariat which national focal point would be responsible for submitting the national report. This confirmation should be sent by email to the Secretariat mailbox, MEA-Minamata-Secretariat@un.org, to ensure that the designated national focal point received the login credentials to the online reporting tool. So as of today, we have successfully sent the login credentials to 128 parties out of 151 parties required to submit the second full national report, which is due by the end of this year. And the remaining 23 parties have not yet received the ORT credentials due to one of the following reasons. First, the parties has not confirmed with the Secretariat which national focal point, who will be the one amongst national focal points of the parties will be responsible for reporting. And the second reason is because the national focal point nomination is still pending. For example, the designation form is missing or unsigned. And lastly is because parties has not submitted to the Secretariat the national focal point nomination. So we strongly encourage parties that have not yet received their login credential to the online reporting tool to reach out to the Secretariat at MEA-Minamata-Secretariat@un.org as soon as possible for assistance. This will ensure that your country will access the online reporting tool without any delay. And in the next slide, here you can see that the National Focal Point webpage on our website, where you can find updated information on national focal points designated by parties to the convention, simply using the drop-down menu to navigate. And in the next slide, As you can see on the screen now, is the Annex 1, which is the template for the designation form for national focal point, and Annex 2 is the model letters for the nomination. And both documents are available on our website. The designation form should be completed and returned under the cover of an official nomination letter, either from the government official contact point to the UN Environment Programme, or from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or from the permanent missions to the UN in Geneva, or to the UN Environment Programme. And it should be addressed to the Executive Secretary of the Minamata Convention on Mercury. And here I would like to emphasize the importance of submitting this form to the Secretariat. Providing accurate and up-to-date information ensures that your country national focal point details remain current in our records. And please note that self-nomination will not be considered. And to avoid more than one focal point, please kindly use one form for each designated individual. And if you have any questions regarding the national focal point designation process, please feel free to contact us at the email shown on the screen, and we will be happy to assist you. Thank you very much, and I now hand over back to Richard for the next part of this section. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lynn. And I hope to the national focal points present, or to the country delegates who are here as well. So if you had issues on national focal points, please take note of what Lynn presented, and do contact us if you still need to designate or specify among your national focal points who we need to send the credentials to. With that, if I can prompt, if you can please move to the next slide, please. All right, excellent. So for this section, I will be providing you an overview of the second full national report. Next slide, please. And as you've heard in a couple of slides earlier, decision MC1/8 on the reporting format established the initial structure, essentially the structure of the reporting format. So for the full national report, parties will need to respond to all 5 parts of the reporting format. These are Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D, Part E. Part A, as Anna mentioned in her presentation on accessing the online reporting tool, we have Part A, which has the general information for all the parties. Of key import here is Part B. Part B contains all of the substantive questions that parties would need to respond to. Note that Part B also has supplementary questions, so these supplementary questions are properly indicated as such. Part C provides the parties an opportunity to comment on possible challenges in meeting the objectives of the obligation of the convention. Part D provides an opportunity for parties to comment on the reporting format, especially this current version, and provide us feedback for possible improvements, or where you think we can sort of further improve the user interface. And lastly, Part E. This is an opportunity for parties to provide additional comments on each of the articles in free text if the party chooses to do so. Note, if you in the online reporting tool, Part E will be available in all of the articles, or in all of the sections for the questions corresponding to a specific article. So please do take the opportunity to provide additional comments if you need additional explanations on to provide this, to the conference of parties on a specific response. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the deadline for the full national report is at the end of this year, on December 31, 2025. To repeat, the reporting period covers starting from January 1 to 2021 to 31 December 2024. Now, these are just a couple of reminders again. The online reporting tool has been opened on March 3. The login credentials should have been sent, and you should have, as the national focal point, you should receive these login credentials. Take note again, these are specific or personalized credentials for you. It's not the same for any other party. So this is just, and for security reasons, this is being done for you. Now, if you're not able to find the login credentials, contact us, as Lynn said, or check your spam folder. It might have gotten caught there. But if after some thorough searching and it's still not there, please do reach out to us, and we will work with you to get those credentials as soon as possible. And lastly, we have developed the Secretariat has developed a Minamata tools. It's an online training course on the full report, and it's available to further assist the parties. The website where you can access the Minamata tools is right at the bottom of the screen in front of you. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, let's go focus on part B a little bit. So again, just to remind everyone, the purpose of this launch session is to give you an overview of the structure of the online reporting tool as specific to the second full national report. We're not going to go into the questions. We're not, and that's going to be reserved for the full training, and I will mention when that event will be. So again, for everyone, this is more about the structure. This is primarily also on how to access the ORT, and also provide you with information on the interface on how to use it. Now, the slide in front of you talks about part B, which consists of 43 questions. Most of the questions, if you will recall, are answerable by a yes or no, and then they follow a given logic. Anna, in her presentation, showed you the ORT structure, and you could see what this given logic means. In some instances, in addition to the yes or no, you'll be asked, you will have an answer option that says do not know, or no with an explanation. As I mentioned, the yes or no as well can have what we call compound yeses or nos. For example, in question 3.1, one of the things that you will notice is that the yes has two components. Yes, primary mining with available data, and yes, primary mining with no available data. So you will see these certain logic patterns for a given question. And these again follow what MC1/8, 4/8, and 5/13 have amended. Now, please take note as well, what appears on the page has to be translated to a digital platform. So we've done our best to be as close to these decisions, but do take note of the limitations of transferring from paper to the digital platform. Finally, for questions where further details are requested, parties are requested to fill in these details in a narrated text in the comment boxes. You will see those. Upload the attachments or provide links as needed. Now, a reminder, when you provide links or attachments, make sure that the links are working. Double check the attachments as well, so that they are specific to the question, that they are specific responses to the question that is being asked. Next slide, please. Now, I talked about 43 questions. Just to give you an overview what those 43 questions cover. The slide in front of you provides an overview of the convention's provisions. To the left, in the middle of the slide, you will see a column entitled Control Measures. To the right, you will see a column entitled Enabling Supportive Context. Now, majority of the 43 questions arises from the control measures. And these are from measures to keep mercury underground, Article 3.3 and 3.4 to the left of the control measure column, and then to the measures that reduce the use and presence of mercury in the economy, industry, and society, you have from 3.5 to 12, and then reducing mercury to the environment, Article 7 and Article 8 and Article 9. Although it focuses on the control measures, the questions also cover enabling and supportive context, in particular Article 13 all the way to Article 19. So I hope this overview is helpful. This is what to expect if you haven't seen yet the online reporting tool, and if you're new to the convention. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there will be sections in the report where you will be required to provide an attachment or additional information will be requested. Just to clarify, when we speak of mandatory information is based on 1/8. And it has 43 questions and only 10 questions are marked supplementary. So for purposes of 1/8 and meeting the obligation established there, these mandatory information will be needed, is needed. And then with the supplementary questions, parties are reminded or are encouraged to respond to them, particularly if they have the information requested in the supplementary question. Now, on the following bullet, the reporting format calls for information on measures taken by the party to report on implementing the measures that they implemented, also on the effectiveness of such measures. This is a reminder for the national focal points attending today that there are two components at times that you will see in the questions. A question that asks on the relevant information on measures taken to implement, but equally important is the questions that ask to describe measures of effectiveness. The effectiveness description here is different from what is required for the effectiveness evaluation, but this is more in line with how the party sees progress in terms of implementing. So I hope that's clear. If you need more clarification on that, I would invite you to check the reporting guidance, which I will describe later. And then to enhance information clarity at the very bottom, this is just a reminder. If detail that is to be reported is part of a larger document, for example, studies or report, the party is requested to extract the information required for reporting purposes. So if you're going to be citing your Minamata initial assessment or your inventory, please just sort of, help us focus on which segment pertains to the answer instead of, and not sort of submitting a 60-page document, and it will be difficult to sort of extract where that information is if it's not easily identifiable. Next slide, please. Thank you. Decision 513. This is just quickly going over what Decision 513 covers. Next slide, please. So this is the, to the left of you, you will see a screenshot, an image of the Decision 513. So the COP amended 19 questions of the reporting format, and the following articles, or the following questions, excuse me, the following questions are affected. 3.1 and 3.2 on primary mercury mining, questions 3.3 and 3.4 on stocks and sources, 3.5 on trade, 4.1, 4.3, 4.4, and 4.5 on mercury added products, 5.3 and 5.5 on processes, 7.2 on ASGM, 10.1 on interim storage, 11.1 and 11.2 on mercury waste, and the relevant sections on 16, 17, relevant questions 16, 17, 18, 19, covering health aspects, information exchange, public information and awareness, research development, and monitoring. So all of this that you see in front of you have been affected and have been affected, amended, and are reflected in the online reporting tool. Next slide, please. Guidance for completing the national reporting format. Next slide. So just this, again, to quickly provide you an overview, to the left is the decision. The adopted guidance is in Annex 2 of the decision. The COP adopted the reporting guidance as set out in Annex 2, and COP requested the Secretary to reflect the amendments to the reporting format as adopted into the reporting guidance. And that is what we did over the intersessional. So the new guidance that's now available on the website reflects all of the 19 amended reporting format questions, as well as clarificatory guidance on how to respond to those questions. And as Anna mentioned in her presentation, each of these guidance, as it pertains to the relevant questions, are referenced in the online reporting tool. So the national focal points will now be able to look at the guidance immediately when looking at the question without flipping through or checking another page where the guidance is. Next slide, please. So Some reminders when looking at the guidance for national reporting. Key reminder for those listening. The purpose of the reporting guidance is to clarify the information being sought in the national reporting format. The guidance is not intended as a manual on how to implement the articles and obligations in the convention. So also, please note that the guidance also follows the structure of the reporting format as it has been adopted and amended by the relevant decisions. Now, so bulk of the reporting format is on Part B. So please consult specifically Part B of the guidance, which is also structured question by question. Each question is presented as adopted and is followed by notes to provide background information and/or clarification and a suggested approach for responding to the question. So you can receive this, when you receive this PowerPoint, you can click on the link below to take you to the reporting guidance. And if you're interested, it's in the reporting page of the website. Next slide, please. Yes, and I will pass the floor to my colleague, Anna. Anna, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Richard. We have reached now the time for Q&A. As we said at the beginning, we encourage you to share your questions with the Secretariat using the chat, and we aim to address them now. Before we go to the questions, let me share a positive note that I have checked now the online reporting tool, and for the second full national report, at least 9 parties have already logged in, which is a positive indicator that you are really engaged with it. So we hope that we can see progress in the upcoming weeks and months. And also, while we check your questions, let me share with you some tips to complete this second full national report on time. As you can see on the screen, it's important that you plan ahead to coordinate, collect, and collate the information required for the national report, especially for this cycle with 43 questions and for most of the articles of the convention. It is important also that you identify and double check the attachments and links that might be needed in good time to ensure that complete reports are submitted by the deadline. Secondly, when reporting annual data, it's important that you specify the year or the years, and where the period is not from the 1st of January to the 31st of December, please specify the period. Then, when answering open questions, ensure that the responses are succinct, while at the same time they offer a meaningful story that will be super helpful for the Secretariat in terms of data analysis. Check also for consistency between responses to previous reports. If there are any changes, you can use Part E to explain the change or discrepancy. Remember that Part E is integrated in Part B at the end of each article. And another important aspect is to note the units in which information on amounts are to be provided. For example, like metric tons. I hope that you find these tips useful, and let me now check with my colleague Richard if he has reviewed the chat and if there are questions from our participants to be addressed. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you so much, Anna. Yes, actually, we have a lot of both questions and useful information that's being shared around. Let me first start with a question from Florian Schultz from Environment Network. The amendments, Florian asks in the chat, the amendments of COP5 enter into force on 25 April 2025. So the second full national report should require the submission of a plan to phase out dental amalgam or a report on the progress of phasing down its use. did you already include this requirement into the reporting tool? Well, thank you for the question, Florian. Let me sort of clarify a couple of things in your or at least provide some clarification. For the so yes, the amendments to COP5 do enter into force as you mentioned, and it is also correct that if a party has a plan to submit those, so the online reporting tool does not require, does not sort of what it asks, what it simply does is there's a question and there will be a field where the parties can enter the information. At the end of the day, the parties have it's up to the parties on how they will respond to the question. But at least please note that the online reporting tool has a specific field where you can there is a specific field where you can add that. Now, if you don't have it, sorry, let me rephrase that. There is a specific field for these types of information, and if it's not immediately available, please add it in your Part E, and you can indicate where the links and the attachments for that. So. And this is also a great opportunity for the 9 national focal points who have already logged in. If you do find anything that's amiss, please let us know, and we'll work make sure that that we respond to your questions or technical issues very quickly. So let me again come back to what Florian was asking. There should be the online reporting tool provides specific fields where parties can put their answers in. There are certain limitations in terms of, for example, in Article 7.2, if the party has conducted a review, there is a space for that, for example, but there is no space where you can submit the national action plan. In those cases, you can add that, you can send those by email to the Secretariat, and the limitations, so to speak, are included in the reminder that was sent to the national focal points as part of their login credentials. So moving on to the next comment we have from Elena Limberidi Setimo. It will be important for parties to fill in details, especially with respect to mercury added products. Oh, yes. Fill in details with regard to the mercury added products. So it would be important to provide more details in the relevant boxes or at the end where there is space on what different measures are taken on different products to get a better picture on the implementation. Okay, thanks, Elena. I just wanted to go back to Florian's question. So let me sort of clarify again. So the national report for the second full reporting period only covers January 1 of 2021 to December 31 of 2024. So this means that for the COP5 amendment, which takes place or takes effect this year, this will be covered in the next, or more specifically, this will be covered in the third full national reporting cycle. So just to be clear, this reporting cycle, which this session is focused on, covers the period from January 1, 2021 to December 31, 2024. So all of the data fields required within that reporting period will be reflected in the ORT for the second full national report. The specific amendments to COP5, which takes effect in 2025, will be covered in the third full national report and not in this reporting period, just because it has occurred past the current reporting cycle. I hope that provides a more specific clarity to your question, and thank you very much for raising that. We also have others. Yes, we also have other sort of remarks, another from Elena, for the elements related to the measures taken to ban mercury and added skin lightening products on the ground from online platforms would be important to mention, given the item will be coming up for discussion in COP6 following the relevant report. So for these items that are feel free to add them in Part E. We encourage parties to if it doesn't fit squarely in any of the questions, but you feel that this is an important item to add, or at least call the attention of the conference of parties, you have options to put it in Part C, if you see it as a challenge, or in Part E, if you want to elaborate more on a specific article. And in the chat, yes, yes, yes. And then we have also the further sort of tools that Elena has mentioned and shared with us in the chat. So thank you very much for sharing that, Elena. I also would like to re-clarify my statement earlier on 7.2. It's actually 7.2 and not it's 7.3 and not 7.2. This is it follows the COP 1/8 format. It's not a limitation, as I erroneously mentioned earlier or described, but it is more in line with the reporting format structure and the logic flow of the question. Do you have, there's another question, a follow-up from Florian. Shouldn't there be a difference in submitting a report or an action plan to phase out dental amalgam? Shouldn't there be a difference? Well, again, I think this goes into the substance of an issue. Our focus is on what's available in the online reporting tool, as reflected, as required by 1/8, 4/8, and 5/13. If it's a specific issue on substance, on what could be submitted, it goes beyond the discussion point at this time. We'd be happy to sort of go over it in the training session or separately with you, Florian, if you wish to consider and pursue this question a little bit further. So I'm checking again if there's more questions in the chat, and we do appreciate your efforts in attending the session today. Please, if we're not able to respond to your question or you have questions that come up in your mind after the session, do email us, and we do appreciate getting these questions, and we will try and get back to you as soon as we can. So far, no additional questions. Sorry, I'm being flagged. There is a language question. Okay. So the languages, the ORT is available in 6 UN languages, and Anna in her presentation flipped through the language preferences. So please take full use of that. There is also a question, I believe, from Aster. The state of Eritrea has been a signatory to the convention since February 2023. So how do we reflect the time interval and any precautions or heads up to follow? So the time interval, so when you access the online reporting tool, if you are the national focal point, as Anna has showed in her slides, you will have an opportunity there. I wonder if we have time to quickly go over that particular slide, Pablo. I think you can flip through that slide where Anna showed. Oh no, it was an actual demonstration. My apologies. But anyways, you can see the recording of this video. You will see, and if you are the national focal point, at the introductory page, at the starting page, you will see different reports that's available to you if you have submitted. If you haven't submitted, you can start on the report where the relevant report that you want to access. So I hope that responds to your question. So if your country has been a party since February 2023, how do you reflect the time? You don't have to reflect the time, you just have to. There you go. Thank you very much, Anna and Pablo. So that, as you can see from the screen in front of you, you don't have to reflect the time. It's already provided for you. All you need to do is move to the right column under tasks. If you've started the full report, you can click continue. But again, this is a test screen. Most usually you will only see new if you haven't started it. So I hope, and then when you click new, the highlighted term text, you'll be brought to that particular reporting period. I hope that's helpful. Um, I think that's, let me check if there are other questions that come up. If none, we have 5 minutes to go. But in any case, oh yeah, can you go to the next slide, please? Just a couple of reminders. In addition to the tips that Anna has explained, another reminder, please don't forget, complete your reports and please submit it by 31 December 2025. It's a full year for everyone. It's going to be super busy. Start your reports early, please. And if you need any assistance, technical assistance, or if you have questions or some of the guidance might not be too clear, please let us know and we'd be happy to respond to you. Next slide, please. A couple of other reminders before I completely forget to mention. So we have our Minamata Online Season 5 for 2025. The most important thing I want to sort of share with you all is on March 26th, we have the training on getting prepared for the second full national report in English at 1 to 1400 CET and in French from 1500 to 1600 CET. The following day on Thursday, we will have sessions for in Arabic from 0900 to 1000 hours. And on the same day from 1400 to 1500, we will have the session in Spanish. So please take note of those critical dates, especially if you're a national focal point or if you're part of civil society that's interested to learn how the responses are being guided. Please attend. We'd love to have you on those 4 days for those sessions. Any other item where I have missed? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. This has been a pleasure to have all of you, and we're really excited to open the ORT up from the Minamata team. We express our appreciation and also our encouragement. It's the 43 questions. It's it's the full report, and we do know that it takes time to collect the information, and we have put together an offline version to help with the information collection. So please use that as needed. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to call us or email us. So if there's no more further questions, I think we can end the session here. And again, I invite all of you to come and join us on March 26th for the English and French sessions, and on March 27 for the Arabic and Spanish sessions. So these are all part of the support that the Secretariat is providing to parties in implementing their obligations under Article 21, Paragraph 1 of the Convention. So with that, on behalf of the Secretariat team, thank you so much, and we wish you good luck in your journey as you complete the second full national report for the Minamata Convention.